Garu, the head of the institution. Father has directed the IQAC to organize a program for the faculty members on the importance of this one and this online first mid-semester examinations. Father asked me to explain about the types of multiple choice questions or the guidelines for the preparation of the multiple choice questions. And at the same time, Father has directed me to involve Dr. G. Sahaya Bhaskaran Garu for the explanation of how Google Forms can be utilized for the evaluation and assessment purposes, and also the platform on which this can be achieved. And hence, as a part of this, we have two presentations. Presentation one from my side. I will condense my presentation to less than half an hour. The abridged version only I am presenting here, and the detailed version of my PowerPoint presentation on the multiple choice questions guidelines is already communicated to Father Principal Garu, and Father Principal Garu has consented to post that PPT after the completion of this program. Now, as already explained by Father Controller of Exam, MC Ragar, please. MC Ragar, please. As already explained by Father Controller of Examinations, Father Bujjibabu Garu, just I am presenting the summary of what Father explained. Number one is the examination is the first mid-semester examination. It is for UG students for third year's semester 5 and second year's semester 3. And the type of the examination is online examination and a decentralized examination to be conducted under the purview of the supervision of the heads of the departments. And marks for this is 15 for the MCQ test and 5 for the oral test, and a consensus can be approached because of these valid issues and concerns raised by the senior faculty members of the college, and we can always negotiate, and with negotiations we can achieve no problem. So if possible, we can convince the management and members to make this for 20 marks also, and the other component can be introduced afterwards. We can request them for the benefit of the faculty and students. And the number of questions, keeping 15 marks in mind, it was set as 30 MCQs, and also the time allotted is 30 minutes for that examination. Now, tools will be used. The tool that we are going to use will be Google Forms after getting sufficient training and practice on that. And the platform can be preferably a Google Classroom platform because we can schedule it very easily. And the schedule and the timetable, official timetable and final timetable will be hosted by Father Controller of Examinations on both notice board through WhatsApp and also online. And the syllabus also, it's not, as Father said, it's not a hard and fast rule that it should be 3 units. If 3 units are not covered, as was suggested by Father Principal, or otherwise with the consensus among the members who taught the paper or subject or course, can finalize the syllabus. There is no problem. Now, this is what is the summary of Father Bujjibabu Garu's speech on the conduct of the examinations. Now, I move on to the first one, and at a faster rate, I will complete it so as to enable Dr. Sahaya Bhaskaran Garu, the other resource person, to give us a detailed explanation of Google Forms and Google Classroom, how to administrate on Google Classroom. Because the actual process that we require is that one only. But before that, as we are for the first time, we are conducting the MCQ online, some guidelines with my experience in the participation of about 5 question bank workshops organized by the UGC and some collected from the senior faculty members and some collected from the various learning resources I am presenting here. This is only I am sharing, and also remember that a number of faculty members, especially senior faculty members, know better than me about these guidelines. And there is no hard and fast rule. Guidelines means just suchana anamata. A guideline is if these guidelines may vary from subject to subject also, and hence depending on the subject also we can select the suitable format or otherwise suitable type of multiple choice questions. So this is not a compulsory one. These are certain guidelines that are given, or otherwise you can say that such suggestions or certain information regarding this preparation of the multiple choice questions. As I told you, I go at a faster rate. The questions are generally based on a taxonomy called Bloom's taxonomy, and I will explain what are the various types of classifications of questions, what is Bloom's taxonomy, what is the structure of MCQ, and how to prepare MCQ, followed by some points to remember along with a blueprint, necessity of the blueprint. According to Bloom's taxonomy, the highly appreciated and used by a number of educators and education psychologists across the globe, it consists of the 6 components from bottom to top. The bottom skill is knowledge. The next up skill is comprehension, then application, then analysis, then synthesis, and evaluation. This is the order from 1 to 6. The thinking skill order increases, the difficulty level increases. This Bloom's taxonomy has undergone a number of changes over the years, and it has taken a new shape of knowledge is being replaced by remembering, comprehension is replaced by understanding, application remains the same, analysis remains the same, evaluation remains the same. However, evaluation reached the 5th position with the creativity which is required for the present young generation students. Therefore, now it forms the highest order of the skill. This is what is the structure of Bloom's taxonomy. The bottom 3 skills, remember, understand, and apply, these are called the lower order skills. The top 3 skills, analyze, evaluate, and create, these are called higher order skills. Now, in the knowledge, what we test is generally the information remembered by a student and just recalling, ante batti kodtam lantidi anamata. Here the types of questions start with the verbs like define, state, identify, list, label. These type of questions are knowledge type of questions. The second type, the comprehension, the students are supposed to express in their own words how they understood and translated the information. These questions generally start with explain, summarize, interpret, convert, predict, like this. The third type of question is an application type of question. The purpose of these questions are otherwise the verbs start with how the student is able to apply what he learned in the class. That is solve, apply, illustrate, calculate, determine, relate. These type of application type of questions start with these type of verbs. The fourth type, these 4 are higher order. Analysis. Here the student is supposed to separate concepts into parts like analyze, compare, contrast, relate, differentiate, distinguish, like this. The 5th type of question or skill is synthesis. Here a student is expected to, or supposed to, expected is a bigger word, is supposed to develop a new structure from various elements available. Compile, create, design, construct, formulate. Mostly this comes in the case of the higher studies, especially PG, and also in the professional courses, or otherwise in computer related aspects also they can do. Next, in 6th one is evaluation. Here the student is supposed to make judgments, very high order. Kavita madam, please. Kavita madam, please. Very rare questions will be asked out of 100 questions, or otherwise 100 in 100, 10% will maybe considered for this type of evaluation. Generally in Viva or otherwise in oral test, people when they take for the jobs or etc., they use to go for these type of evaluative judgments. and there how can you defend, how can you evaluate, how can you justify, how can you relate, and how can you support. These type of questions start with these verbs. Now, these are some of the verbs that are listed under each category of thinking skill, and this is also available on the internet. I acknowledge the resources of the internet here for using this slide. Now, classification of questions is based on the level of difficulty. Questions are classified into easy, moderate, and difficult. Next one, based on the length of the questions or otherwise the type of the questions, descriptive type and objective type tests are administered. A descriptive type test purpose is to test writing skills of the students, and this consists of all the types of higher order and lower order skills with weightage given based on the composition of the class and the students we are testing. However, there is a possibility of asking all types of questions in the descriptive type of examination. And generally, our descriptive type of questions consists of long answer type, we call it essay, short answer type, and very short answer type. The another type of the tests we can administer generally are the objective type tests, where generally these tests are administered to the students of large groups, and also in remote learning and remote testing, generally objective type tests are nowadays they have become a fashion to conduct. And here the problem is that only we can test the lower order thinking skills. The higher order thinking skills like analysis, synthesis, and creativity, it's not so easy to test over these objective type of tests. Even if it is a physical examination also, it's difficult to test. This consists of a number of types of questions, including fill in the blank or completion type of questions, assertion and reason type of questions. Here in the case of assertion and reason type of questions, there is a slight possibility of asking the higher order questions. Whereas in the case of statements and conclusions, another type is matching. Till now we heard about 2-column matching, and recently people are asking questions on a 3-column type of matching. Here also we can somewhat test the analysis or grouping of various categories or elements. And in the case of the another type is called binary, means only 2 choices will be given, yes or no, true or false, right or wrong, correct or incorrect, like this. And another one is more than 2 choices, that is multiple choice of questions. So preferably from 4 to 5 people are asking, but almost nowadays most of the educators have confined the multiple choices to 4 options only. Now, what are these multiple choice questions? These are the most versatile and popular among all the types of objective type of questions. These are easy to administer, and also copying can be minimized. Academic integrity can be achieved using this one, and hence this has become a most popular one among all the objective type of questions. Here, what are the various types of questions that we can ask is mostly knowledge followed by understanding and application, whereas for higher order there is a little scope in asking here, and hence a balanced examination or a balanced evaluation, total evaluation consists of all the lower order thinking skills with the help of these type of questions or otherwise these type of objective type tests, and testing higher order skills using the descriptive type of examinations. And hence an examination should be a combination of both objective and descriptive type. What is the structure of a multiple choice question? A multiple choice question basically consists of what we call the question is called technically as the STEM, question or STEM. Right. Or otherwise it can be called as an item. The next one is, these are called as the options or alternatives. These 4 or 5, whatever you want. Options or alternatives. Among the given options or alternatives or choices, one will be the best answer or correct answer or key. Generally what educators suggest is that try to avoid the correct answer, because in some subjects what happens is when a calculation goes, the student gets a value of 9.95, whereas among the choices only 10 is given. So the student can claim that there is no correct answer, sir, there is only an error answer, and hence it will be better to ask in the instructions itself ask for the better answer or otherwise best answer or otherwise a suitable answer or a nearer answer rather than the correct answer. Correct is 100%. And the remaining, all the remaining three are called as, all four are called as alternatives. Whereas this is called as correct answer, the bottom one, let us say an example. The remaining are called as distractors. So generally what people do is, or what the teachers do is, they prepare a question first, then they prepare the answer, then they write whatever they want, whether they are related or not to the question, or otherwise whether these choices are homogeneous or not, without looking at anything. For example, I got an answer of 10 here. 10, please 10 here, and they simply write here 1 lakh, 20 lakhs, 4 lakhs. If a problem is solved, the answer can be either 10 or 12 or 14 like that, whereas the people give various values without looking into the original answer and original question. Sometimes what happens is, the question is one and the remaining three choices will be not at all related to the STEM, and hence the student will be able to guess. For example, this is a question related to physics. I give only one physics choice here, and the remaining three choices are not at all related to physics and they are related to some other subject. Then definitely we are giving direct answer to the students. Try to avoid this one. Next, after preparing the STEM and identifying the correct answer and the plausible distractors. Distractor means the students' mind should be slightly taken away from the correct answer, so that he gets a little bit doubt whether this is correct or this is correct. This is called as distraction. Deviate చేయటం అన్నమాట, slight deviation, and hence the remaining three options other than the best answer are called distractors. After framing a question, what we are supposed to do is review that question and revise it, because we are going to test a number of students, and hence instead of playing with the students, it will be better to pay attention at the beginning itself. If you have still doubts, you consult you show this question developed by you to your senior faculty members for the review, and also take a feedback and incorporate it and make it a sensible question to ask in the examination. Next one. Various types of stems are possible. One is based on the stem, one question is asked, and based on the stem, a number of questions are asked. For example, single type of question, a single question is asked, then generally that stem consists of a single sentence or a question, or a sentence with another sentence in the form of the question. That is two sentences at the maximum. Whereas when it comes to a multiple question type of stem, then in the form of passage, in the form of chart, image, table, and in the form of data, generally will be given in the stem, and a number of questions ranging from 3 to 5 generally will be asked. Next one. Suggestions for writing a good stem. See that the question should be written in the simple, clear, and unambiguous way. We are testing the knowledge of the students, understanding capacity of the students, and ability of the students, and we are not trying to confuse the students. We are trying to help here and not to disgrade the students. To grade the students, we are using it, and hence try to see that the question is simple, clear, and unambiguous. Next one, be grammatically correct. That is important. Right. Instead of asking in the present form, if you ask in the past form, etc., then the student will not be able to understand the question also in most of the times. And also try to use the familiar language except if it is required. If it is a commerce subject, try to use the commerce subject rather than other subject. If it is a physics subject, try to ask the physics related terms or incorporate the physics related words rather than using high English terms in this question or stem. Next one. Stem should be meaningful by itself. Don't give clues in the options again. If you are framing a stem, means it should be complete in all respects, and in the choices only the answer to that stem should be available. The stem should be meaningful by itself and should be complete. That means express the full form of the question what you are going to ask fully in the STEM only. And if any, for example, most of the faculty members, when they design a question paper, I observed that they keep some other information which is not related to the question as an introduction. It's not at all required. Any irrelevant material is there, unless otherwise it is intended to test such a skill or outcome, then you can use. Otherwise, kindly remove that irrelevant material from the STEM. Next one. Provide as much of necessary wording as possible in the question. That's all. Already explained. Do not repeat in each of the alternatives. Generally, what people do is this is because of, this is because of, this is because of. You need not repeat everything in the all the alternatives. Instead, you take it to the STEM. Right. Next one. Avoid using words such as. చాలా మంది ఒప్పుకోరు ఇది, బట్ దిస్ ఈజ్ అన్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్డ్ గైడ్ లైన్ ఆర్ నామ్ దట్ ట్రై టు అవాయిడ్. తప్పనిసరి పరిస్థితి అయితే గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, యూ కెన్ యూజ్ నో ప్రాబ్లం. బట్ ఇన్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది కేసెస్ ట్రై టు అవాయిడ్ ఆల్వేస్, నెవర్, ఆల్, నన్, ఎట్సెట్రా. దీస్ థింగ్స్ షుడ్ బి అవాయిడెడ్ ఇన్ ద గుడ్ స్టెమ్. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ అవాయిడ్ వేగ్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్, ఫెయిర్లీ హై, కన్సిడరబుల్లీ, greater, like that. You avoid these type of expressions in the STEM. Next one, the STEM should be as far as possible, try to write the question positively. Affirmative question, sentence question in the form of positive nature. Try to avoid negative terms. But there are certain cases in which we test the student's ability with the negative terms also. If it cannot be avoided, then use it cautiously. And also, I will give an example for that next. In particular, avoid double negatives, which is not incorrect. Don't write like that, which is correct. Right. Next one, use a question format must be there. Next one, experts encourage multiple choice items to be prepared as questions. This is explanation. Bottom one is rather than incomplete statements and fill in the blanks laga cheyakandi. End with a question as far as possible. Again, see, all these are guidelines, or otherwise all these are suggestions given by the experts, and hence you have every choice or otherwise option to modify them, no problem, and you can use it to suit your needs. But the educators say that, the experts say that a multiple choice question should be a question, not a fill in the blank type. Next one, example for the negative one, that is, which of the following is not a thermodynamic potential? If it is required to use not in this, you use it. If it is only, if it cannot be avoided. But the thing is, you are supposed to give it, highlight that not, either in the form of capital letters or bold or italic. If you observe any previous questions papers set by either central universities or IITs or etc., definitely they consist of this not. Some of the teachers may argue that I want to know whether the student has read this not or not, like that. We are not testing not, but we are testing yes. Next. Suggestions for writing some alternatives. Alternatives should be clear and concise. మీరు చూస్తే the alternatives are bigger than or larger than the question in most of the cases. Try to see that the STEM part consists of most of the question and or the information, whereas the alternatives consist of, they should be clear and concise, as precise as possible, not more than one line. And see that the alternatives are homogeneous in content. For example, if a question is asked from one chapter or one topic and only the choice related to that topic is given below and the remaining 3 topics are given from the topics which are not related. For example, I asked a question on optics and I gave the one choice corresponding to optics and the remaining 3 corresponding to thermodynamics, waves and oscillations, electricity, modern physics, like that. Then the student will easily guess the correct answer. So try to be homogeneous in content of the alternatives, and don't try to give clues to the answers. It's observed that in one or two cases that when light falls on a surface, it comes back. Then, in the case of reflection, what do we call this as? Or in the case of light, don't give. The question should be reflection means, like that you can give. Next, avoid using the alternatives like all of the above and none of the above. If you observe the recent examinations, competitive examinations, in almost all the competitive examinations, starting from the national high standard question examinations to the other entrance examinations, people are avoiding these two, especially all of the above and none of the above. In certain cases, if it is unavoidable, I think suitably replace with other choice rather than all of the above or none of the above. Because what happens is the examiner or otherwise the paper setter sets only three choices, and invariably he keeps the fourth choice always as all of the above and none of the above. The purpose of the examination is not only to assess or to give marks, but also to provide some information, some subject information to the students as a post-mortem. If the student goes after completion of the examination and analyzes the paper, he will be able to know why among these four choices only this is correct, why these three are wrong, and hence he will get information on the remaining three choices also. If you give these type of question, they will get information on the remaining two choices only. Next, see that all the options are of similar in length as far as possible. In some cases, if it's unavoidable, you go for lengthy, but the thing is, what most of the paper setters are doing is 1, 2, 3 and 3 are only one word or one phrase, whereas the correct answer they are giving in the form of a lengthier sentence. Try to avoid this. See that the length is similar. Next one. In most of the multi-entrance examinations and also the coaching centers are giving directions to the weak students that, don't worry about this examination, you do one thing, you keep either 2 or 3 invariably, at least 13 or 15 marks you will get out of 40, they are saying. That means out of 40, 14 marks or 15 marks they will get. And hence, students are accustomed to this one also, or otherwise some members may mislead this and give this type of information to the students. And hence see that it consists of a balanced keys. That means 40 means 10 into 4. If it is 10 into 4 also, they will get. So there is no exact pattern or no uniform pattern. See that they are mixed. The orders are mixed. 1s, 2s and 3s are not many. 1s and 4s are very not less. In most of the question papers, we find 4 as very less number of choices. Next one, avoid asking absurd, jokey and idiosyncratic distractors. పడితే అడగకూడదు అనమాట. వాళ్ళని కన్ఫ్యూజ్ చేయడం కోసం వాటి కోసం అని చెప్పేసి ప్లాజిబుల్ గా ఉండాలి, మనకి మంచిగా ఉండాలన్నమాట. రైట్. నెక్స్ట్ వన్, అగైన్ similar to the question or stem, see that the distractor is grammatically similar to the question that you asked and grammatically similar to other choices. What happens is the question is in the past tense and the choices will be in present or otherwise present continuous tenses like that. You see that the grammar, as far as possible, the grammar is correct both in or otherwise the grammar given in the choices should be similar and also similar to the stem. Next one, some points to remember. Give clear instructions to the students. Without instructions, the students may question us, sir, this can be, that can be, and hence instruction should, every question paper generally should have the instructions. The next one, see that the time allotted for the examination, if it is 30 minutes and you are asking the students to write the questions or answers in 10 minutes or even in 1 hour, it's ridiculous. See that the time allotted is sufficient for the students. Yeah, the time is generally prescribed by the administrators. Therefore, the role of the paper setter is that to see that the questions are balanced so that the student can answer all the 30 questions or 50 questions or 60 questions in the allotted time. Avoid out of syllabus. Don't give questions from the out of syllabus, and avoid copying from internet and books. Recently, what happened is when webinars were conducted, especially on quiz, people used to open this question, They simply select it, right click it, search Google. They are getting the same question and the same answer. They are writing, and almost all those who took these online web quizzes, they are getting 100 out of 100 or 100%, and hence they are getting very good certificates. Even the same happens if you copy it from the internet and books and also paste it in the question paper. So try, as far as possible, try to write on your own words, in your own words. And also select the best answer rather than ask the students to select the best answer rather than the correct answer. Avoid repetition of the question in another form. Sorry, ఈ చాప్టర్ లో ఇన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ రావట్లేదు, ఏం చేద్దాం సార్? అరే ఓ పని చేయరా, ఇక్కడ సిరి బిట్ ఇచ్చేసి ఇక్కడ ప్రాబ్లం ఎవరో సేమ్ అని అడుగుతుంటారు అన్నమాట. అలా కాకుండా try to select the question in another form, or don't try to repeat it the same question in another form. Next one, check if you are using the diagrams, pictures or photographs. For example, if it's a conventional examination, and if you are running the physical examinations, and also we have enough time and enough scope to give these pictures, diagrams or photographs, etc., then there is no problem. But whenever there is a crisis situation like this pandemic situation, and when we are supposed to conduct the examinations for the students, we have to go more creative and more innovative, and hence, as far as possible, try to avoid the symbols, etc., photographs, etc., and each and everyone can understand the problems that are faced by the mathematics, chemistry, etc. faculty members, that they are unavoidable in some circumstances. And as far as possible, to help our students, to save the academic year of our students, to save the education of to continue the education of our students, see that these type of questions are eliminated in the online examination, and to invent other methods with your rich experience of 30 years to 10 years. Definitely, I am confident that you can devise such questions if you have will. The next one, prepare a balanced question paper. Every question paper should be a balanced one that should be answered by all the students. Don't address a question paper to only weak learners or to only advanced learners. See that both are benefited from the balanced question paper. And of course, negative marking can be given to avoid the guessing, but the problem is generally negative marking is used in either entry level examinations or what we call as screening examinations or entrance examinations. In academic examinations, as far as possible, better avoid this negative marking. Next one is, what is a blueprint? Blueprint of a question paper is nothing but it can be in the form of a matrix or a chart or a table that reports how many number of questions you are going to give, and from each unit how many questions you are giving, and types of what are the various types of questions that you are going to test. Of course, let us leave it to this learning objectives, of course, but order of the day is this learning object is to be tested. You leave it for the time being, and what is the weightage given to each topic or unit. Then this blueprint is not to circulate among the students. The purpose of this blueprint is for preparing a question paper and for the assessment purpose. This is for the teacher. You prepare a blue part. Previously, government used to release this blueprint for the intermediate examinations, IP examinations. This is a model blueprint that was prepared by me for my sake only, that keeping this present type of examination in mind. Class is second BSc, subject physics, maximum marks 15, and time allotted is 30, and the number of questions given are 30. I divided this among 3 units preferably, because initially envisaged for 3 units, or otherwise if you are completing only 2 units or 2.5 units or up to completed syllabus, you divide these questions judiciously and uniformly so that the students will get marks uniformly. Here knowledge type of questions, remembering type, understanding type, and application type are asked. As application type is the higher order skill among these 3 skills, a less importance is given here, so that the other students, the poor students or weak students or slow learners will definitely pass the examination and get at least 60 to 70%. And knowledge type of questions are, I am giving some 12 questions. Example only, this is a model one. Even I change this one when I prepare a question paper also. 12, and understanding type of questions I selected 12, and application type of questions I selected 6. 12 plus 12, 24 plus 6 is equal to 30 questions spread across 3 units with 10 from each section. So this is called a balanced type of question paper, and this balanced type of question paper also depends on the nature of the subject we are teaching and the learning abilities of the students we are testing, and hence keeping the interest of the students in mind and all other considerations, you prepare a blueprint, then it becomes easy for you to prepare the question paper. And thank you very much, dear friends, for your patient listening on the guidelines for the preparation of the MCQs. These are the guidelines. Again, I am telling you, a number of senior faculty members know better than me. You take the clues from the senior members and also from your department colleagues before preparing the question paper. This is especially for the young faculty members, and others also they can follow to suit to the needs of your subject. Thank you for your patient listening. And now I move on to the next talk. రైట్, పిఎస్ఎస్ గారు కనబడుతుందా?
సార్ కనబడుతుంది సార్.
రైట్ సార్, రైట్. మీరు నాది ఆఫ్ చేసేసి డాక్టర్ సాహెబ్ భాస్కర్ గారికి